Goofy. God. Ever do that again. It's gonna stop. Bro, what? Who plays like that? Bro, no one plays like that, bro. Bro, nobody just runs out and starts swinging. Bro, gold is easy, bro. It's just people that play like this. That's why you gotta work, bro. You want to play right, bro? You don't gotta worry about people for real. All you gotta do is worry about people sniping. That's the only thing to worry about for real. Everything else you can deal with. Just, bro, I got sniped like 5 times, bro. I got sniped by like 7 times, bro. Half the time. Getting sniped, bro. That almost sniped, bro. I died to do the post down, bro. He was running from me, didn't you? Oh. Before we talk to him.
Try Puffs Plus Lotion for noses that are sore and red and make cold and flu season a soothing time instead.
For the last couple of months, I have been thoroughly debating what gaming monitor I should upgrade to for my existing Dell S2719DGF. Now that monitor has treated me extremely well over the last couple of years, but I've definitely also figured out some of its flaws over that time as well. Now the Dell is a 1440p, 27-inch, 144 Hz overclockable to 155 Hz monitor, and that's all I've really needed for the last couple of years based on my gaming hardware and my...
Hey everyone, it's Marcus with the Best Buy Vlog. Today I'm going to be reviewing this. This is the Asus TUF VG1A gaming monitor. I'm going to be talking about its design, connectivity, ergonomics, panel, performance, and of course, sharing my final thoughts. Let's start off by talking about the design. The design of the Asus TUF VG1A is minimalistic for a gaming monitor. Unlike other gaming monitors, there aren't any crazy designs or RGB LEDs. In fact, the only thing on this monitor that tells you it is a gaming monitor is the words TUF Gaming and the TUF logo on the rear of the monitor. On the rear right of the monitor, you're going to find 4 buttons as well as a navigation joystick, all of which are used to control the monitor. When it comes to ergonomics and adjustments, the Asus TUF VG1A is pretty basic. With this monitor, users will only be able to adjust tilt. For those who are wanting more flexibility in making adjustments, the VG1A is VESA compatible and can be mounted onto a computer arm. Onto the panel. The display of the Asus TUF VG1A is a 31.5-inch flat VA panel with a resolution of 2560 by 1440 pixels. The panel offers a fast refresh rate of 170 Hz and a 1 millisecond response time. It also has viewing angles up to 170 degrees. As this is a VA panel, there are deep blacks, good contrast ratios, and gray color reproduction. The panel is also compatible with AMD FreeSync Premium. Alright, let's talk about gaming and media performance. The Asus TUF VG1A is a fantastic monitor when playing games and consuming content. During my testing, I played Call of Duty Warzone 2.0 and had a great time. The large 31.5-inch screen allowed me to see more detail as well as have a wider field of view, making it possible for me to see more of my surroundings. The fast 170 Hz refresh rate and 1 millisecond response time was fantastic for fast-paced games like Warzone. Consuming content was also fantastic on the Asus TUF VG1A. The large screen was great for watching movies and offered a cinematic experience. Overall, the TUF VG1A is an excellent monitor for gaming and consuming media. If there was one thing that I wish for, it would be that this monitor had a curved screen. Since the panel is flat, I found myself needing to turn my head left and right at times to see what was happening on the extreme edges of the screen. If the monitor was curved, I could still see what was happening on the edges of the screen without needing to turn my head. When it comes to productivity, the Asus TUF VG1A is a great tool for content creators and productivity professionals. Its 16:9 aspect ratio and high resolution provided a lot of screen real estate to work with. This meant that I could spread out multiple windows across this monitor, which is great for multitasking. Overall, I found this monitor to work well for my productivity needs. While testing this monitor, I was surprised to find that the Asus TUF VG1A actually comes with speakers. This was a real treat since the majority of computer monitors don't have speakers. During my testing, these speakers sounded pretty average with good mid and high tones. However, it didn't have strong bass. Overall, the speakers are serviceable and would work well for anyone on a budget or needing a pair of backup speakers. Alright, time for my final thoughts. The Asus TUF VG1A is a great monitor for gamers and productivity professionals.
What is going
on, guys? I am Consumer Tech Review, and today I'm going to be doing a review of this awesome 32-inch Asus TUF gaming monitor, more specifically the VG32VQ1B. I'm going to go over the pros and the cons, and then I'm going to give you some of my own real-life experience that I've had with this monitor. And if at any point in the video you guys want to check out this monitor for yourselves, all the Amazon links below for the US, UK, and Canada. But jumping right into the first pro, that has to be the huge 32-inch screen. If you guys are used to using 27-inch screens or 24-inch screens, this 32-inch screen is going to seem huge to you. Now, I have been used to using a 34-inch ultra-wide monitor, and this is a normal 16 by 9, and this thing is still massive. It's almost as wide as my 34-inch ultra-wide is. So it is absolutely huge, and it's still big enough for me, even though I came from an ultra-wide, which normally, you know, it's kind of a no-no. You don't go from 21 by 9 back to 16 by 9, but this change was very easy. Moving on to the next pro. So this is actually 1440p resolution, so you're getting 2K, which at this size, some people will tell you you need to get 4K, but they're wrong. You definitely don't need to get 4K. The 1440p looks very nice. It obviously depends on how close you're going to be to your screen. Will you notice a difference if it's...
Welcome back to another YouTube short.
If you're a PS5 player or an Xbox Series X player, I've got 3 monitor recommendations for you. So this is my top recommendation right now for console players, even PC players. It's only $200 right now, and you get 27 inches, which is perfect if it's sitting on a desk. You're going to game up to 1440p and...
Hey guys, I'm Tom the Tech Chap, and this is not your ordinary PC gaming monitor because it's 4K, 144Hz, but also HDMI 2.1. So if you've got one of these snazzy new consoles, then it also doubles as a bloody good console gaming monitor, which is not something you see very often, and while arguably TVs are still a better option, particularly for HDR, and also they're a whole lot bigger, that is one of the issues. If you want something that also works well with your PC and can sit on your desk without completely destroying your eyesight, then this is definitely worth considering. So this is the Asus TUF Gaming VG28U, and it's one of just a handful of monitors sporting one of these swanky new 2.1 ports, 2 of them in fact, along with a couple of normal HDMI 2.0s and a DisplayPort 1.4. So this is just as much for the PC master race as the console master race. And if you do find this video helpful, then a cheeky little like and subscribe would be lovely. Okay, let's talk specs, and it makes a good first impression because we're getting 4K at 144Hz via DisplayPort or 120Hz via HDMI 2.1. We also get a great-looking IPS panel, fast pixel response, and AMD FreeSync Premium and G-Sync compatible adaptive sync tech. But at £700, or about $750, you are paying a bit of a premium for that HDMI 2.1, as there are better quality panels out there for less money. Now, this isn't your only option when it comes to 2.1 monitors, but it is the only one right now, at least, that claims to support fully uncompressed 10-bit 444 chroma color. And without getting too much into the weeds here, because this can get very complicated and also very boring quite quickly, but in theory, this means you're getting more true-to-life colors on PC and Xbox, because actually the PS5 is limited to 422 color, but the difference between them, you really can't tell. To be honest, it's the panel quality and the color accuracy that really determines how good the screen is. And the good news is that color accuracy is actually pretty high for a gaming display like this. It's not professional level, but it's great for most apps, and even photo and video editing. And in my tests, Asus's own claim of 90% coverage of the DCI-P3 color gamut is pretty close, which is impressive. Don't forget that this is a full 4K resolution, and with this 28-inch screen size, it means whether you're console gaming or using a PC, everything is super sharp and crisp. And paired with that 120 or 144 Hz refresh rate, everything is buttery smooth as well. The thing is though, while there are a handful of PS5 and Series X games that support 4K and 120, usually it's not altogether. But when we do get high refresh rates, it makes console gaming feel a lot more like PC gaming. Having said that, there are some advantages to the consoles. For example, we get an automatic boost up to 60 or 120 Hz thanks to game boost and FPS boost on the PS5 and the Xbox. However, from a purely PC gaming perspective, I think there are better options out there for less money. And realistically, 4K is still a bit overkill, especially at 28 inches, where unless you're sort of right here, I don't think you're fully appreciating that full sort of higher pixel per inch density. But the issue is 4K just destroys your frame rate in games. I mean, I'm getting 60 FPS now without ray tracing Cyberpunk on a 3090. So you're not taking advantage of that high refresh rate unless you're playing older, less demanding games. So really, I think the sweet spot for a PC game monitor is Quad HD 144 or 240, not 4K. But on the other hand, you can always reduce the resolution if you want. It's good as native, and you do have the benefit of being able to run these consoles at full 4K. But regardless of how you use your monitor, one of my biggest issues with this TUF is the HDR performance. It's really cool to display HDR 400, which is the entry-level laser standard for HDR, and it means it has to exceed at least 400 nits of brightness, which it does. I measured around 520. So while it is displaying HDR content correctly, arguably it's nowhere near bright enough for a proper HDR experience. Contrast performance also isn't fantastic, so blacks can sometimes appear greyish, and we do get a little bit of blooming. I think given the price, as I say around £700, I was expecting a little bit better. Having said that, SDR performance was good, even though it's a little bit dimmer at around 350 nits, which is just bright enough to show off the punchy colours. And while we're not talking mini LED, OLED, or even VA panel levels of contrast, it's not bad, and there's only minimal IPS glow. More impressive though is the pixel response, because ASUS claims just 1 millisecond gray to gray response time, which is what you get in the fastest of the 5 overdrive modes. And while I did see some noticeable inverse ghosting on the higher setting, knocking it back a couple of levels still gave me a fast pixel response, and also less pixel overshoot around fast-moving objects. Now, design-wise, it's your pretty typical gaming monitor from ASUS. There's nothing really that interesting about it. I like the fact that we have nice flush bezels, except for this slightly chunkier chin at the bottom. But overall, it looks and feels a little bit plasticky, and there's a distinct lack of the usual RGB nonsense, usually reserved for their top-of-the-line ROG products. We do get a ton of flexibility though, loads of tilt and rotation, including being able to put it into full portrait mode, and you can even bring it right down to almost desk level, and there's barely any wobble. The on-screen display is nice and easy to use. We have this little joystick at the back with a few buttons, and there's the usual array of options for you to have a tinker with. So the big question, should you buy it? Well, it's sharp, it's got fast pixel response times, it's pretty color accurate. We're not getting any fancy OLED or mini LED levels of color or contrast here, but for an IPS, it does a good job. And also, if you are a console gamer, then having HDMI 2.1, while not strictly necessary, and actually I made a whole video talking about whether it's worth buying a 2.1 monitor, which I'll leave a link to at the end of the video, that's definitely worth watching because you don't need one right now, but it certainly does make it more future-proof, and there are a few advantages to it beyond just having the high refresh at 4K. So outside of using a 4K HDR TV, which would still probably be a better bet for these consoles, if you do want a monitor that fits on your desk, but you can also use with your PC and also maybe do some work on, then this is a really good option. And while it certainly isn't cheap, it is one of the more affordable 2.1 monitors. And of course, it has that secret weapon of the 444 10-bit color. The only issue really is that slightly iffy HDR performance. It just doesn't get quite bright enough for that proper HDR experience. Also, I kind of wish we had a 32-inch option, which I appreciate would reduce the PPI, so it's not quite as sharp as this, but I think 4K at 32 inches is a much more reasonable size. And of course, this does have some competition. You've got Acer's XV282KV, and also Gigabyte's Aorus FB43U, which obviously is a lot bigger. And if money is no object, then the ASUS ProArt 32-inch display is fantastic if you want pro levels of color accuracy with a nice 4K 120Hz screen. But for me, the best TV slash monitor slash display, whatever you want to call it, for a console is probably the LG 48-inch C1, which will cost you about $1,000 or so. The HDR experience is far better. You get true blacks because it's OLED, also 120Hz, also HDMI 2.1, and also actually faster pixel response times. Although it is pretty big for a desk, believe me, I've tried. So I'm crossing my fingers for that 42-inch version, which LG teased last year. But what do you reckon? Would this be a good fit for your gaming setup right now? Or, well, just a bit of a waste of money? Let me know what you think in the comments, and also if you've got any questions at all. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will leave a link to this below if you want to check it out, and I'll see you next time right here on the Tech Chat.
Old Spice gives you ridiculously long-lasting scent. Downy makes clothes softer, fresher, and better. We breathe life into your laundry. PC specs. But there are some definite drawbacks to this monitor. It is HTN panel, which means that it has some very washed out colors, poor contrast, amazing response time and latency, don't get me wrong, but due to the way that TN technology works, it just doesn't have very clear colors or very vibrant colors compared to a VA or an IPS panel. So there's a couple things that I'm considering now when it comes to upgrading to a new gaming monitor. Should I increase resolution? Should I increase refresh rate? Should I go IPS or VA? So there's a lot that's been coming through my head when I've been trying to figure out what gaming monitor I should buy next. And although there's some amazing monitors out right now, there's also some really interesting technology coming our way soon with like mini LED and QD OLED technology finally hitting the gaming monitor segment. But if I had to buy a monitor right now, there's different price ranges, of course, that I could go with that still fit in that 1440p or even 4K spectrum.
What?
So looking at like 1440p, 240 hertz even if we wanted to update refresh rate. You could go with something like this Asus, which hits all the boxes. 1440p, 240 hertz, really nice color accuracy out of the box, HDR, a built-in NVIDIA G-Sync chip, which is going to give you the full capabilities of G-Sync variable refresh rate, or you can even go something 4K, that's 120.
Hey guys, I'm Tom the Tech Chap, and this is not your ordinary... to put it into full portrait mode, and you can even bring it right down to almost death level, and there's barely any wobble. The on-screen display is nice and easy to use. We have this little joystick at the back with a few buttons, and there's the usual array of options for you to have a tinker with. So the big question, should you buy it? Well, it's sharp, it's got fast pixel response times, it's pretty color accurate. We're not getting any fancy OLED or mini LED levels of color or contrast here, but for an IPS, it does a good job. And also, if you are a console gamer, then having HDMI 2.1, while not strictly necessary, and actually I made a whole video talking about whether it's worth buying a 2.1 monitor, which I'll leave a link to at the end of the video, that's definitely worth watching because you don't need one right now, but it certainly does make it more future-proof, and there are a few advantages to it beyond just having the high refresh at 4K. So outside of using a 4K HDR TV, which would still probably be a better bet for these consoles, if you do want a monitor that fits on your desk, that you can also use with your PC and also maybe do some work on, then this is a really good option. And while it certainly isn't cheap, it is one of the more affordable 2.1 monitors. And of course it has that secret weapon of the 444 10-bit color. The only issues really is that slightly iffy HDR performance. It just doesn't get quite bright enough for that proper HDR experience. Also, I kind of wish we had a 32-inch, which I appreciate would reduce the PPI, so it's not quite as sharp as this, but I think 4K at 32 inches is a much more reasonable size. And of course, this does have some competition. You've got Acer's XV282KV, and also Gigabyte's Aorus FV43U, which obviously is a lot bigger. And if money is no object, then the Asus ProArt 32-inch display is fantastic if you want pro levels of color accuracy with a nice 4K 120Hz screen. But for me,
simple question. If you clicked on this video, then chances are you're asking one simple question. What is the best gaming monitor for yourself? And there are so many different options to choose from, right? You've got ones that are big, ones that are small, cheap, expensive, HDR. Well, I don't really know what the opposite of HDR would be. You wouldn't be looking for low DL now, would you? Well, everybody, fear not, because in this video, we're going to find you the perfect gaming monitor specifically for you, and explain literally everything you need to know about the subject before handing out my very top picks at every single price point and budget. So get ready to have the hard work done for you right after a short word from this video sponsor. Elgato's prompter has arrived and is here to revolutionize your workflow. This teleprompter transforms your videos, presentations, and calls, all thanks to the fusion of a display, camera head, and software suites. With this elegant, all-in-one solution, you can look professional and make your streams and recordings so much easier, all with a device that is extremely simple to set up and use. Learn more today with the link down below. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is a gaming monitor? Well, as the name suggests, it's a display that's specifically designed for gaming, with any gaming monitor that's worth its salt having a fast and responsive screen and a low level of input lag. A decade ago, this would have come at the expense of image quality, with washed out panels and terrible viewing angles, but these days you just don't have to pick between picture quality and performance. Let's break down the key things to look for, starting with refresh rate. Probably the key statistic to watch out for. The refresh rate tells you exactly how many times the image is refreshed per second. The more refresh cycles, the smoother the image will be, and the lower the lag will be. But don't go thinking that this is some kind of silver bullet, because lag is made up of several different components, as we will discuss shortly. But at first glance, and if your screen is indicating your speed, do keep in mind, of course, that these are the maximum refresh rates that these panels can work at, and crucially rely on your gaming PC or console to actually supply the frames per second, so the monitor will need to work at its best. For example, a 165Hz monitor will only feel as smooth as a seal if you're outputting at 165 frames per second. Not that I'm a seal expert or anything, I just assume they're pretty smooth. The lesson here is to work out what exactly your gaming PC is capable of, and then buy something appropriate. Don't go and purchase the most expensive display you possibly can with the highest resolution panel if you're only rocking a GTX 1050 Ti. Because spoiler alert, it won't really work. And of course, resolution is indeed the other side of this equation. And the more pixels your screen has, the harder it is for your graphics card to actually output to. Running a game at 1080p Full HD isn't actually that difficult. 1440p and ultra-wide are hard, but reasonable, whilst 4K, well, that's 4 times the number of pixels in Full HD, so your frame rate will be roughly 4 times lower. We do have these new scaling techniques like DLSS and FSR to help us have higher resolution panels, while still keeping very high frame rates. But if you do want to play multiplayer games, then I would always choose a lower resolution and a higher frame rate any day of the week. Besides, do the math. Lower resolution panels are cheaper to buy, and then you don't need such a powerful GPU, CPU, and power supply to actually drive it in the first place. The main reason to buy a high resolution display in my eyes is the screen size. Larger sizes require more pixels to look sharp, and when you're using a bigger screen, all of that detail gets shown in its full glory, and it can make your games look simply stunning. As a general rule, I'd look at 1080p for a 24-inch display, 1440p for 27 inches, and 4K for 32 inches and above, but it's not an exact science. Besides, form factors are so different now that these screen sizes only really apply to standard 16:9 widescreen displays. I mean, we've got ultra-wides, super ultra-wides, I don't know, gaming TVs posing as monitors. There are so many different things to choose from. Big format displays are fantastic for gamers that want to stretch back with a controller and regularly watch Netflix. Ultra-wides for those that want to do a bit more super ultra-wides actually replicate 2 16:9 monitors sandwiched together, all without bezel. The thing that really separates one monitor from another, though, is the type of panel that each one uses. This will not only affect the colours and contrast of the display, but exactly how much motion blur and smearing each monitor will have whilst gaming. Each panel type comes with a series of pros and cons, so there isn't really a best per se. So the most common display types into 2024 are VA, IPS and OLED. Now, VA, or vertical alignment monitors, tend to blend fantastic contrast and refresh rates with affordability. They're great options for those who watch a lot of movies or video content and play games that are perhaps a little bit slower in pace. This is because the main drawback is that they're actually pretty prone to something that we call smearing, where the fast-moving images leave behind this horrible dark mess. Some monitors are definitely better than others, but it is a common trend of VA panels. If you've already been doing a little bit of shopping around yourself, then you've probably noticed that the most common panel these days is IPS, or in-plane switching. IPS panels usually have stupendous color reproduction, high refresh rates, amazing viewing angles, and decent response times, but they are prone to something known as IPS glow. This is where several parts of the monitor will appear as distracting light blotches when viewed in dark environments. And it's also worth noting that cheaper IPS panels can struggle to get anywhere near as dark as VA panels in the first place, glow or no glow. Oh, ignore me for a second. My back is killing me. I've been sitting in this chair for far too long. But I'm still here to tell you about the newest technology around the block, OLED. And you've probably heard of this. It's popular in a load of TVs, as it has been really for the last sort of 10 years or so. But now it's making its way to monitors. And bar maybe one pretty big flaw, it pretty much is the best monitor technology out there. OLED stands for Organic Light Emitting Diodes. And these displays work by emitting their own light source, which means that every single pixel can shut off entirely or completely black blacks, and technically infinite contrast. Not only this, but the displays usually have the best color reproduction, are more power efficient, and crucially have much faster response times. This means that fast images won't have that horrible smearing found on some VA panels, nor the motion blur or glow from IPS. In fact, I've actually found that a 240Hz OLED actually looks very similar to a 360Hz IPS display, all because that motion blur is significantly better. However, don't go thinking that these things are perfect though, as the drawbacks are pretty much twofold. Firstly, costs. They ain't cheap, as you're looking at well over £500 minimum for an OLED monitor. And secondly, perhaps even more importantly, they're prone to something we call burn-in. Burn-in is where you have an image retained on screen after using it for several years, and it's caused by static elements like logos and passwords. Now, as far as I know, I'm yet to experience any of this on any of my displays. I've got an OLED monitor and an OLED TV, but just because I've not seen it, I'm not specifically looking for it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And especially if you're going to use your display for a lot of work, like spreadsheets all day, if you're an accountant by day, gamer by night, then chances are the risk is perhaps a little bit too high. Now, the final panel type to note is called TN, or Twisted Pneumatic, and thankfully, we don't really see these panels very often anymore, as the tech is quite old and outdated. The strength of TN is that they're pretty cheap to produce, and naturally have faster response times than both VA and IPS. But unfortunately, they do suffer from subpar viewing angles and questionable image quality that firmly demotes them to hardcore gamers on a budget only these days. Let's talk properly about lag though, as this is probably the single most important aspect of the gaming display, and it is measured in a few different ways. What most people think about is end-to-end system latency, from when you click the mouse to actually seeing something happen on screen. This is the sum of all aspects of your setup, everything including your PC, display, and peripherals. Whenever we're talking about gaming monitors though, we're mainly talking about two main metrics: the input lag and the response time. Input lag is the time it takes for the monitor to receive your signal and then actually display it on screen. Response times, on the other hand, are a measure of exactly how long it takes for a pixel to fully change from one color to another. This doesn't really affect the feel or the lag of the system, but as discussed, the amount of motion blur that you're going to see on the screen. Another thing to keep an eye out for is HDR, or High Dynamic Range Displays. And assuming everything's working properly, top tip, grab Windows 11, don't use Windows 10 because it can be a little bit funny. Assuming everything's working properly, then an HDR signal, when displayed properly, is going to have better contrast, could have a higher brightness, much better color, and the overall image is going to have a lot more pop to it, and overall look a whole lot better. OLED displays arguably do the best job at HDR, thanks to their infinite contrast ratio, per pixel level dimming system to avoid halos and blooming, and lack of any backlight. But any monitor can display HDR that has its own dimming system. It's pretty simple really. The higher the number of zones, the better the image will be, and smaller sections of the picture can be set to bright or dark. If you're serious about HDR, then ideally look for a mini LED display before going OLED, as you have plenty of zones and usually a high peak and sustained brightness. Do note though that not all games are a lot of these cheaper HDR monitors will say that they are HDR, but unless they're actually rated as display HDR 600 or higher, then the end result will probably look a little bit flat and...
Oh, what? She's shooting through my build?
Not for HDR. And while we're on the topic of looking a little bit flat, a quick word on panel coatings. Oh, I'm sounding like a right nerd here, aren't I? You wanted to just find out what's good for gaming, and we're talking about panel coatings. But it's important. So yes, nerdy hats on everyone for a second, because panel coatings can be either matte or glossy. And short story short, glossy panels look better in ideal conditions.
Oh my god, bro, he's just spamming me.
Characteristics, but of course can give off awful reflections when you put them near a window or other bright light sources. Matte panels, meanwhile, get around this problem with a non-reflective coating. But some monitors take this a little bit too far with a grainy moire that can hamper the overall experience, especially when viewing white backgrounds. And then finally, before we move on to the recommendations, do also be aware of variable refresh rate technology. Perhaps more commonly known as both G-Sync and FreeSync, these monitors accept a variable refresh rate signal from your gaming rig, and then matches the display refresh to your in-game refresh rate. This reduces the stutter and tearing you'll see in-game, and allows for a much smoother experience than playing without. In a nutshell, for the best experience, look for those rated as G-Sync compatible, or with AMD's FreeSync Premium. But now is the time that I know you guys have been waiting for, the recommendations. But of course, do bear in mind that I haven't tested literally every single monitor, so if there's one that you want me to test or ask on, I don't know, my thoughts, whether I like it, whether I hate it, let us know down in the comment section below, and we'll do our best to answer you. Let us begin with my budget gaming monitor pick, the AOC 24G2 SPU. This is a 24-inch 1080p IPS display that costs roughly 150 quid. Now, it's not going to win any awards for its cutting-edge spec sheet, but it gets pretty much everything right for that all-important core gameplay experience, thanks to a 165Hz refresh rate. It's also great that it does support AMD's FreeSync, so gaming should be super smooth across the board, even if your gaming PC is starting its golden years and about to claim its pension. Just do be aware that the image quality is merely okay, and it's not going to compete with those costing a whole lot more. If you let me, I'll also throw in a budget ultra-wide option here, as I know there are some fellow wide boys like myself out there. Now, I want to be clear on this one. I have not actually used this display personally, but I have collated reviews on this, and it's definitely worth considering the Gigabyte M34WQ. It costs a whole lot more than AOC's G2, but it is a lot more monitor too, with a 34-inch IPS screen and a resolution of 3440 by 1440. Now, it's not quite as fast, running at a mere 144Hz, but with 92% of the DCI P3 color space covered, it'll look phenomenal and be a whole lot more immersive too. Just do be aware that this is one of the many monitors that is only rated as display HDR 400, so the HDR isn't going to melt your face off like any good, proper HDR monitor should. Now, in rather surprising news, I think we've got an interruption, because our next recommendation actually comes from the proest of pros himself, Mr. TFT Central.
Thanks for having me, Marcus. You've left me a pretty broad category there, but I think that for most people, the 27-inch 1440p gaming displays, they're probably going to be your best general all-round choice without breaking the bank too much. I mean, there's loads to choose from, but I think my personal pick in this category right now will probably be the Cooler Master Tempest GP27Q. The reason for that is that it's one of the few options in this size and price range that's got one of the high-end mini LED backlights. So that makes it a far better choice than the vast majority of screens in this size to handle modern HDR gaming. So it's got a nice bright display with significantly improved contrast thanks to that backlight. And along with its solid IPS panel and very good response times, it's a really good choice. It's got 165Hz refresh rate as well, and so it's somewhere in the middle when it comes to the pricing tier for this kind of size monitor.
Moving on to the next category, we have 4K, and maybe you want this for the sharpness, maybe you have a next-gen console and you want to unlock its full potential. Well, do be aware most of them out there, even if they call themselves gaming monitors, are typically 60Hz, but in order to actually qualify for this video, they needed to do 120 or more. My initial picks with this were both the Gigabyte M32U and the 28U, two very similar 4K monitors, both running at a maximum refresh rate of 144Hz, and both supporting HDMI 2.1 to unlock full console. On the 32-inch version that we tested, the image quality was great, not only in terms of that pin-sharp resolution, but also from a rich and vibrant IPS panel that made your game sit. I think most of us will agree that we'd rather have the 32-inch version, as 4K is far more suited to a larger screen size, but unfortunately is a lot more expensive than the 27, so actually choosing between the two could be a bit of a tough decision. Moving on to a monitor I know better than any...
my god, bro.
So it's got a nice bright display with significantly improved contrast thanks to that backlight. And along with its solid IPS panel and very good response times, it's a really good choice. It's got 165 Hz refresh rate as well, and so this is somewhere in the middle when it comes to the pricing tier for this kind of size monitor. Moving on to our next category, we have 4K. And maybe you want this for the sharpness, maybe you have a next-gen console and you want to unlock its full potential. Well, do be aware most of them out there, even if they call themselves gaming monitors, are typically 60 Hz. But in order to actually qualify for this video, they needed to do 120 or more. My initial picks for this were both the Gigabyte M32U and 28U, two very similar 4K monitors, both running at a maximum refresh rate of 144 Hz and both supporting HDMI 2.1 to unlock 4K 120 on console. On the 32-inch version that we tested, the image quality was great, not only in terms of that pin-sharp resolution, but also from a rich and vibrant IPS panel that let your games sing. I think most of us will agree that we'd rather have the 32-inch version, as 4K is far more suited to a larger screen size, but unfortunately is a lot more expensive than the 27, so actually choosing between the two could be a bit of a tough decision. Moving on to a monitor I know better than any other one in this list, because it's my personal display, let's go for the best luxury ultrawide. I've been using Alienware's AW3423DW QD OLED monitor ever since it launched, and it is my favourite gaming monitor I have ever used. It shares the same 3440 by 1440 resolution as our budget pick, but this time it is OLED, baby. This means that you get that beautiful infinite contrast that makes any movie or game look divine, and the motion blur is as good as any you can get on an ultrawide today. It's also properly HDR, as while it's not quite as bright as some other mini LED displays on the market, the true blacks are good enough for that. The whole thing is just incredibly comfortable to use. Of course, you do need to be aware of burning though, and do also be aware that the freezing version of this is actually a fair bit cheaper, and is otherwise essentially the same, so I would strongly consider going for that use. Of course, you do need to be aware of burning though, and do also be aware that the freezing version of this is actually a fair bit cheaper, but is otherwise essentially the same. So I would strongly consider going for that one to save yourself a pretty penny.
Hey Siri, how much is 800 pounds?
What would you like to convert to?
US dollars.
What would you like to convert from?
Hey Siri, how much is 800 pounds in US dollars?
800 British pounds is 1,013.
That'd be blowing me.
But as you guys are constantly telling me time and time again, not everyone wants to go ultra-wide, others just want to go big. LG's 48 GQ900 came in at...
Okay, it seems like we're going with the first one. Peter. Switch Peter down. Switch him down. can't do anything, bro. Bro, hop off my body, bro.
Studio wallback. And while it was too big for me personally, as an all-round entertainment display, it was awesome. As it also uses an OLED panel, you can expect very similar contrast and image quality as its smaller siblings. But now you can really experience all of the detail that 4K resolution will bring. You can multitask for days, watch Netflix whilst gaming, and of course lean back into an extended playthrough for your favourite RPG.
I'll also add in the Asus ROG Swift PG42 UQ here. It's a bit smaller than the LG that you tested. It's 42 inches in size, which I think is just about okay as a desktop monitor.
Some people hate ultra-wide, others love it so much they want to take it to the next level and go for super ultra-wide. I mean, there's no way around it. They are absolutely ginormous, but technically speaking, they do take up slightly less space than two monitors would. Category is the penultimate.
Correctly, like the HDR mode, for instance. But once you got past that kind of initial experience, it was a really good gaming screen.
Moving on once again, I'm pleased to say that our next category is the penultimate one, and it's actually a brand new one for 2023, one that has a bit of an odd name. I'm calling it the bestest, fastest gaming monitor, as I'll now explain. My pick here is the Asus ROG PG27AQN, a monitor that's not only 1440p, but tops out at a whopping 360 Hz. The overall experience was pretty wild when I used this earlier in the year, with such a tiny amount of input lag that I've never really felt more connected to a game in my life. Now, image quality wasn't quite as good as OLED, as this instead opts for IPS, but you pair this with any esports title like Valorant or CSGO, and you're going to be a real force to be reckoned with. But here's the thing, I think most people would actually be better off going for a different kind of monitor entirely, one that's slower, or one that's OLED, only to I mean, sure, if you can run your game at 360 Hz, then a 240 Hz OLED isn't technically going to be quite as good. But bear in mind, most games won't actually be drivable at these sort of refresh rates anyway. Then it makes sense to go for OLED that has much better response times, contrast, and image quality, because it's just going to look way better for the majority of games. Plus, the LG 27GR95QE is actually much cheaper out the gate anyway, so you're saving money for going for the better option.
I also want to add in the Asus ROG Swift Pro PG248QP into the mix here as well for competitive and esports gamers. It's pretty niche as a display goes. It's small, it's 24 inches in size, it's got a 1080p resolution, and it's even built around an aging TN film panel, but it is the fastest monitor we've tested today.
Bro,
Its refresh rate, amazingly quick as well. It's got a native NVIDIA G-Sync monitor in the screen, so it also supports NVIDIA's ULMB2 and their reflex and latency analyzer technologies. So it's a really top-end gaming screen with all the bells and whistles that you might want.
This then, folks, leaves us firmly at the end of the road with just one topic left. My favourite, or I should say, our favourite gaming monitors. And mine is really easy. We've already spoken about it. It is that 8-inch ultrawide, but I believe Simon from TFT has a pick of his own.
Gosh, there's so many to choose from and so many different use cases, but I think I'll go with the Asus ROG Swift PG27AQDM for all that OLED goodness, at least until we get 32-inch 4K OLED monitors next year anyway.
Well then, everybody, there we are. Everything you need to pick. It is that 8-inch ultrawide, but I believe Simon from TFT has a pick of his own.
Gosh, there's so many to choose from and so many different use cases, but I think I'll go with the Asus ROG Swift. PG27AQDM for all that OLED goodness. choose from, and so many different use cases, but I think I'll go with the Asus ROG.
It is that Alienware ultrawide, but I believe Simon from TFT has a pick of his own.
What? No.
There's so many to choose from and so many different use cases, but I think I'll go with the Asus.
It is that Alienware ultrawide, but I believe
Asus ROG.
it is that Alienware ultrawide, but I believe Simon from TFT has a pick of his own.
Gosh, there's so many to choose from and so many different use cases, but I think I'll go with the Asus ROG.
It is that Alienware ultrawide, but I believe Simon from TFT has a pick of his own.
Gosh, there's so many to choose from and so many different use cases, but I think I'll
This is a 24 like it or hate it. Let us know down in the comment section below and we'll do our best to answer you. Let us begin with my budget gaming. Monitor pick the AFC 24G2 SPU. This is the
Whoa! Fortnite nerfed them. Fear me. You don't want to do no more. Fortnite, why did his bullets go through the thing? Bro! 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 Bro, why do so many people think they're Chris Kyle, bro? Bro, what, bro? Bro, I've never met so many people that think they're Chris Kyle, bro. It's getting outrageous, bro. Bro. Bro, why do so many people think they're Chris Kyle, bro?
24-inch, 1080p, IPS display that costs roughly 150 quid. Now, it's not going to win any awards for its cutting-edge spec sheet, but it gets pretty much everything right for that all-important core gameplay experience, thanks to a 165Hz refresh rate. It's also great that it does support AMD's FreeSync, so gaming should be super smooth across the board, even if your gaming PC is starting at 11 years and about to claim its pension. Just do be aware that the image quality is merely okay, and it's not going to compete with those costing a whole lot more. If you let me, I'll also throw in a budget ultra-wide option here, as I know there are some fellow wide boards like myself out there. Now, I want to be clear on this one. I have not actually used this display personally, but I have collated reviews on this, and it's definitely worth considering the Gigabyte M34WQ. It costs a whole lot more than AFC's G2, but it is a lot more monitor too, with a 34-inch IPS screen and a resolution of 3440 by 1440. Be your best general. So having me, Mark. In rather surprising news, I think we've got an interruption because our next recommendation actually comes from the proest of pros himself, Mr. TFT Central. Thanks for having me, Marcus. You've left me a pretty broad category there, but I think that for most people, the 27-inch 1440p gaming displays, they're probably going to be your best general all-round choice without breaking the bank too much. I mean, there's loads to choose from, but I think my personal pick in this category right now would probably be the Cooler Master Tempest.
Cool. Whoa! Charlie!
GP27Q. The reason
reason for that is that it's one of the few options in this size and price range that's got one of the high-end mini LED backlights. So that makes it a far better choice than the vast majority of screens in this size to handle modern HDR gaming. So it's got a nice bright display with significantly improved contrast thanks to that backlight. And along with its solid IPS panel and very good response times, it's a really good choice. It's got 165 Hz refresh rate as well, and so it sits somewhere in the middle when it comes to the pricing tier for this kind of size monitor. Moving on to our next category, we have 4K, and maybe you want this for the sharpness, maybe you have a next-gen console and you want to unlock its full potential. Well, do be aware most of them out there, even if they call themselves gaming monitors, are typically 60 Hz, but in order to actually qualify for this video, you needed to do 120. My initial picks for this were both the Gigabyte M32U and 20. Two very similar 4K monitors, both running at a maximum refresh rate of 144 Hz, and both supporting HDMI 2.1 to unlock 4K 120 console. On the 32-inch version that we tested, the image quality is great, not only in terms of that pinch-up resolution, but also as 4K pig. But this time it is OLED, baby. This means that you get that beautiful infinite contrast that makes any movie or game look divine, and the motion blur. The motion blur is as good as any you can get. Spice gives you
Don't be tweaking. Easy kill. Scat pack, gun behind the wheel. We should. And yeah, Plat. Green plat. Scat back, he down behind the wheel. Drop that water on my wrist, it's gonna be tough. That's right there. Hey Siri, what's 400 minus 279?
The answer is negative 100.
Hey Siri, what's 400 minus 279?
That would be 121.
121. Why me so soon? I ain't like I used to be. How much is been for the chair? Hey Siri, what's 400 minus 278? 280.
It's negative 270.
Hey Siri, what's 400 minus 280?
That would be 100.
Downy does more to make clothes softer, fresher, and better. Because sometimes your work shirt needs to be a soft, cozy pillow. Downy, breathe life into your laundry.
Oh, Louie, where you going? I gotta handle something. Get your rear end ready because you're about to experience maximum comfort, quality, and resistance. Find out now your perfect accessory. Top 10 best gaming chairs. Number 10, Corsair T3 Rush. After hearing all...
I'm gonna watch that. We in Platt. We in Platt. We in Platt. We in Platt. Coming up. I done me on some fun. I ain't nothing like I used to be. Grabbing in these rap artists and murder in my face. Put the telephone and take a trip to Tallahassee. I never really know. No, I'll call my automatic. Oh, what the? What? Bro, this is bull, bro.
That the T3 Rush has to offer, you'll be thrilled like me. This Corsair creation has a tremendously solid metal frame. Hearing all that the T3 resistance. Find out now your perfect accessory. Top 10 best gaming chairs. Number... Pretend. 250. Number 9, Andaseat Jungle. This masterpiece created by Andaseat is considered by many to be one of the best chairs for a low price. For $250, Jungle is simply magnificent. Its frame is made entirely of steel, making it extremely sturdy and solid. Its seats and backrest are made of memory foam and are upholstered with excellent quality PVC synthetic leather. Great, right? And what's more, it can recline at angles ranging from 90 to 160 degrees. Superb comfort. But perhaps the most incredible detail of the Andaseat Jungle is its Class 4 gas piston. Ready for all the height adjustments you want with great control and durability? By the way, this chair can carry gamers up to 200 pounds. And one detail worth checking out, especially if you have wide hips, is the size of the seat, which measures 14 inches wide and could fit you snug or tight depending on your rear end. Number 8, Razor Isker. The key word here is lumbar support. The Razor Isker has probably the best lumbar support of all, as it not only contributes to the overall comfort of your spine, but also helps correct posture problems. Amazing! Its metal frame is covered by high-density foam, an impressive standard multi-layered PU leather, which will offer you outstanding durability to constant use. You have to touch it. It's sensational. Its 40 armrests fully adjust to your gaming style, and the backrest can recline up to 126 degrees.
Oh my god, bro.
How much weight does it support? It's ready for gamers up to 300 pounds with no problem. But if there's one thing that stole my heart about this chair, it's the memory foam cushion that folds to your head. This chair is spectacular, although not exactly cheap, as this beauty is priced at $500. Number 7, Andaseat Kaiser 3 XL. In previous positions, I explained the importance of having ample space to accommodate yourself. And that's why Andaseat created the Kaiser 3 XL. Listen well, this beast is ready to carry gamers weighing up to 397 pounds thanks to its 100% Titan steel frame. Its sturdiness is outstanding. Also, its level is regulated by a Class 4 gas piston with great firmness and durability. Incredible! But I want to tell you about a great particularity that this chair has. It's adjustable lumbar support in 5 positions, which your spine will greatly appreciate, almost as much as its ability to recline between 90 and 165 degrees. What's everything covered with? Well, you have 2 options: high-quality PVC leather or linen fabric. It's up to you. However, I can't help but mention its magnetic cushion and 40 armrests that absolutely complete this giant combo, which can be yours for $500. Great benefits come with great prizes. Number 6, Noble Chair's Hero. You have to sit in this chair. A direct rival to the Razor Isker from the 8th position, the Noble Chair's Hero features an integrated, adjustable lumbar support that grants impressive comfort. You won't need cushions anymore. Plus, it's totally sturdy, with a steel frame and aluminum base that comes with 60mm polyurethane-coated nylon wheels. By the way, the seat and backrest are made of gold foam, and you can choose between a synthetic leather, real leather, premium synthetic leather, or fabric cover, with different prices starting at $420, which isn't exaggerated for such great quality. Did I tell you that this chair supports up to 330 pounds of weight and can recline from 90 to 135 degrees? Unbelievable! By the way, it also features a Class 4 gas lift, rocking mechanism, sleek 40 armrests, and a memory foam headrest. This chair is fabulous. Number 5, Herman Miller X Logitech G Embodied. Look at this chair. Doesn't it look beautiful, gorgeous, modern, and with everything you could wish for? Well, let me tell you, it is. So, why is it ranked 5th, you may ask? The answer is easy. It's obscenely expensive, as it's priced at around $1,700. But let's get back to the cool part, because believe me, your spine will thank you. It has a back support system called Optimum that adjusts to
Oh my god, I did not just do it, bro.
made of copper-infused cooling foam that keeps heat from building up. Awesome. Plus, the seat comes with an extra layer of foam for extra durability. It's upholstered in 100% polyester zinc fabric. And if you want to know how much it's capable of carrying, well, a lot. It can hold gamers up to 300 pounds. Cool, isn't it? If you can afford it, that is. Number 4, Secret Lab Omega. For many, Secret Lab is the ultimate authority on gaming chairs, and the Omega model is an impressive example of that reputation. What struck me most about this chair was undoubtedly its cushion, made of viscoelastic foam, wrapped in cooling gel, and covered in velvet for maximum softness. Great, right? But while we're on the subject of comfort, I'll also tell you about its patented cold cure foam, which has the properties of distributing weight and relieving pressure. All covered in PU prime leather, which is 4 times more resistant than conventional PU. Of course, with that cover, the Omega is priced at $440, but you can also look for the Napa leather version, where the price goes up to $850. Now that's extreme, as is its sturdiness, thanks to its steel frame with aluminum base to recline up to 165 degrees and support gamers up to 240 pounds. Astonishing. Number 3, Homall S Racer. If you take a good look, you'll discover that this chair, created by the Homall brand, has nothing too remarkable as the other positions of this top. However, that's its secret. It has everything you need from a gaming chair, and it's affordable at only $95. That's a crazy price. But let's check its technical details. It can carry people up to 260 pounds, so we can consider it quite sturdy thanks to its steel frame, which also allows you to recline between 90 to 150 degrees. The seats and backrest are made of high-density memory foam, which is covered by wear-resistant PU leather. Cool. By the way, its armrests are soft, its head cushion is removable, and it comes with a lumbar cushion. Need anything else? Plus, look how stylish it is. So, if your budget is tight, this is an excellent choice. Number 2, Herman Miller x Logitech G Phantom. At this point, we can forget everything we've seen. This creation by Herman Miller and Logitech G is sensational. I love it. The Phantom is hugely customizable. The seat can go backwards or forwards, it can be raised or lowered, but the most captivating thing is the headrest, which is also adjustable to your posture. It's incredible! And it can carry gamers up to 350 pounds. By the way, this chair features posture fit spinal support, a technology for the backrest that targets your spine and provides maximum support and comfort to your posture. As for the seat and back cushions, they're made of a Phantom's exclusive foam that's breathable for great coolness. And if you were wondering about the upholstery, it's 100% recycled polyester, so we can say that this chair is environmentally friendly. How much does this beauty cost? $995. So it's a bit expensive, but believe me, it's worth it. Don't get comfortable just yet, because it's time to meet the best gaming chair. Ready to feel the ultimate ergonomics? Number 1, Secret Lab Titan Evo 2022. This chair is as close to perfection as it gets, and if you see it, you can't miss it. The Titan Evo 2022 has the most advanced lumbar support system of all, the L-Adapt, which covers up to 57% more of the back than other chairs, adapting intuitively to your spine. It's a marvel. In addition, its frame is made of solid steel, and the seat and back cushions are made of Secret Lab's exclusive cold cure foam, which perfectly regulates pressure and temperature. By the way, you can choose the cover, with a base price of $550 with Neo Hybrid Leather Red, and up to $1,000 with Napa Leather. This latter option is really expensive. A fabulous detail is that the neck cushion is made of viscoelastic foam and is magnetic. I love everything about this chair. It can carry up to 397 pounds and also has an exceptional 4D armrest. Could we ask for anything more? What did you think of these chairs? Do you want to sit on one right now?
Bro, what? Bro, I can't do nothing, bro.
If you enjoyed the video, you can carry that or view the Phantom memory foam, which is covered by wear resistant pounds, so we can consider.
Just get back down behind the wheel. What